Hello, and welcome to the Side Escape Gaming Podcast, episode 17. I'm your host, Jake Burke, and joined, as always, by James St. Charles. James, week 2 of quarantine, how you doing?
Crazy.
Crazy? How you feeling? How's gaming treating you?
It's honestly, it's just like, it's like a gaming cruise, sadly.
It is.
It's like just gaming.
I think out of like my whole family, I'm definitely doing the best with this because I'm used to hanging out inside on the weekends and playing video games.
Yeah, the gamers are rising up now. It's their time to shine.
This is our moment.
Everyone else is panicking.
We've long dreamed of the moment where we
are quarantine experts.
Yep. We've been self-quarantining for years, man.
This is what we've been training for. This is the Olympics for gaming.
This is our World Cup right here. We're here to prove why we're the best. But enough of our shenanigans, because this is the 17th episode of the Side Escape Gaming Podcast, where every Monday morning a new episode goes live on YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And once a week, we sit down, James and I, and Skype across 500 miles to talk about the latest video game news, like HP, Valve, Microsoft building a next-gen VR headset, ? And a main topic like this week's review of Doom Eternal. But at the end of every episode, we slowly build the Side Escape Gaming top 20 best games of all time list. It is James's turn to pick.
My turn.
It's your turn. But before any of that, James, I like to know, what have you been playing? James, what have you been playing this week?
Okay, so first, let's just get it out of the bag. We forgot something last week.
We did forget
something.
We just
totally skipped over it. It wasn't because it wasn't good. It was just such a quick thing that we just didn't think anything of it. But we played the Resident Evil 3 demo last week.
And
that came out.
The Resident Evil 3 demo side escaping episode will be live this Friday with Hunter playing it for the first time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
there's a little
look forward to that.
Little housekeeping.
Yeah. But anyways, we both played it. How did you feel?
I thought it was great. So you haven't played the Resident Evil 2 remake yet, right?
No, this week.
This week you're playing it. Perfect. I'm excited to hear about that. Resident Evil 2 is a lot slower and like more methodical and creepy, where I felt like the demo kind of showcased how Resident Evil 3 is way more action paced. Like I never ran out of pistol ammo in Resident Evil 3, the demo. And it's a very short, 20-minute chunk of the game. But I never ran out of ammo. I never felt like I was overwhelmed, where in Resident Evil 2, I'm like, I got 5 shots of pistol ammo and I got to go through this hallway, and I know I just got to sprint because there's going to be 9 zombies in this hallway. Where this game, I was got a bunch of ammo and I'm walking out, I'm like, ga-ga, and then walking and doing all of that. That being said, I think it plays beautifully. I think the game is stunning. This and then Final Fantasy VII, which is also the demo that came out a few weeks ago. We've got 2 of the best looking games I've ever seen coming out. The lighting, just the way this RE engine captures the game looks really beautiful. And I'm very curious, we didn't really get much of it in this demo, but how the Nemesis chasing you around system is going to play.
Yeah, there was I saw people experimenting with Nemesis, and there was things you can do to kind of combat, counter his attacks, which was interesting. Could you do that with Mr. X and
so you can stun Mr. X basically. If you get a few headshots on him, he'll drop.
Those similar things were in the demo, I guess, that you could do. So he played the same. If just he probably had range attacks, I guess, because he can shoot.
Yeah, he can shoot, and he grabs you and pulls you back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't do much with the Nemesis stuff because literally once Nemesis showed up, my heart
sprint to the finish.
My heart was pounding. I'm like, I gotta get to that fucking fire hydrant right now.
That's how it was. It's I'm just leaving. But I saw people literally scoured and mined the whole demo for every single weapon and things you can do. And
did you get the shotgun?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't. You can get the healing sprays and the salves. I didn't know. I got one of the components, but I never got it.
Really?
You could that's what's someone was literally just mining the demo for stuff you could get.
Yeah.
So there was stuff that was hidden that you can.
So the demo's only I think I played it for less than 30 minutes. I think it was 25 minutes or something.
It's 20 something. Yeah.
Yeah. 20-something. And I'm curious how long this game will be, because Resident Evil 2, the remake, was about 4 or 5 hours with Leon's story. And then you got to play as Claire, or vice versa. You could do either one. So there's another 3 hours tacked on. So it's about a 7-8 hour game, where this is just Jill Valentine's story. And so I'm curious if it's just a 5-hour experience, which I'm totally fine with. But
well, what's the price tag of the game? The game is $60.
It's $60. Right? There's also a multiplayer component on it.
Oh, okay.
Resident Evil Resistance. So
interesting.
Yeah, which I think is fun. Left 4 Dead-esque.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, we have to play it. We'll have to try it out.
Yep.
But that comes out this Friday. So
yes.
That's very exciting. So in 2 weeks, we'll have a review for that. We got a lot of reviews coming up. It's a very exciting time to be a gamer.
Mm-hmm. Like our Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal this week.
Which we played this week.
Animal Crossing next week, which I've been playing just a gross amount of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Yep. I love it. I got khakis today. I got tennis shoes that look like Converse. I'm Jake. I'm finally me.
You're you.
I'm finally me in Animal Crossing, running around just owing my life to Tom Nook. Tom Nook owns me like just a pair of used PJs, you know? I don't know what that means, but he does.
Wait till you own your own house, then the bank will own you.
I know, right? Yeah. This is just training me for how Tom Nook runs, yeah. But it's great, and I'm really excited. I'll go way in more depth next week. I kind of want to save it, but and then obviously Doom Eternal we've played a lot of.
15 hours, probably a little bit more. You probably played more than Mike because you did way more like 100% completion.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. I want to talk a lot about the secrets and stuff, but that's going to be after the news. Anything else that you've been playing? I really haven't been playing anything else new.
I beat Half-Life Alyx last night.
Whoa.
So that was huge. Definitively the best VR game to date. Some of the best puzzle solving, scenery, music, which the audio wasn't done by them, which is quite interesting. They give credit in the credits to WB Game Audio.
No way.
They did the audio.
Warner Brothers.
And it was well done.
That's awesome.
Like, it's really hard to do like 3D spatial audio when you don't have the proper engine, which is what PS4 is like building.
PS5.
So PS5, so yeah, not PS4. They were bad at PS4.
Yeah, PS3 was
PS5,
great.
yeah.
PS4 said nope.
Yeah, but it was pretty well done, like with where I could tell enemies were, and it's something that we've talked about lately that games have been doing bad at, especially the new Call of Duty Warzone. Like the audio horrible. Is so bad, so it's something that looks like they outsourced and had a great attention to detail. So quite good there. Music, speeches, and then when you're talking with someone, like it feels like you're talking with them in front of you. And then your voice, the hardest part though is like you speaking, because it doesn't really sound like you're speaking. It's like kind of like a recording. Yeah, so that's the hardest part.
So your character talks, and I feel like a lot of VR games I played, the character doesn't usually talk. The person that you're playing as. Is it jarring to hear a character that you are talk for you?
No, because that's like been done before. Like
I guess in video
it
games,
feels
right?
it doesn't feel like a VR experience. It feels like a regular like video game experience. Like your character talking, like, what's this? Oh, what that does that. And then you have like some guy talking in your ear the whole time, which that actually does feel like someone's talking in your ear, like someone's like you're wearing a headset, which
so James,
kind of weird.
On the Half-Life Alyx train, I just want to really get something out of the air. Obviously, I think you owe me a great apology. Throughout most of this podcast, you have said that they could never make a Half-Life 3. I've been calling
go back to the recordings.
I've been calling it out. Am I right?
We could go back to the recordings, and it says they could never make a Half-Life 3 unless they address what they did in Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and they did.
Okay.
So I was still right, but I was like, they could never do it. That being said, if they go with a VR Half-Life 3, people will be mad.
I think they will. I think Half-Life, they've kind of...
I think they're like, at this rate, we can't make anyone happy, so let's just make it.
Well, and they publicly said, Valve, I was reading some stuff like with their new development team and like why it took them so long to make Alyx. And they were like, Half-Life, the goal of Half-Life was always to push technology forward with like physics engines and all of this. Obviously it became this cult thing, but like that was the original goal of Half-Life. So they saw like VR as an opportunity to like take it in a new direction and push technology forward. And I think obviously they did that in one of our big news stories we'll be talking about what they have next, right?
I was reading on that too. Like with Half-Life 2, I was reading some comments that people said when that came out in 2004 that computers actually couldn't run it. Yeah. You need to go out and get like a new graphics card, which is like the first time people had to do that to actually run the game because it was so intensive and boundary pushing with technology, which it was. And now like it just seems like it's the game. It could have came out in 2008 and it would have looked just as good. But but now with VR, like this is the problem though. The video doesn't do it justice. You look at the video and it's like, it looks okay. But when you play it, it's like it has a whole other feel. Like it's a whole level of complexity to video games.
And I think like if you've played a VR game, like I have the PSVR, so I have the very rudimentary VR game that like the little trigger controllers and they close your hands and open your hands, right? You sent me the video of, it was someone posted on Twitter, of the head crab leaping and the person grabs the chair and scoops it with the chair out of the window. And it's like, if you've played a VR game and then you see that, you're like, oh, that's like something never done in VR before. Because in VR, you'll look to your right and there'll be like a Coke can, a knife, and something. It's like, I can grab one of these 3 things. The fact that you like look around, grab a chair, and just scoop this guy, it's like, oh, that's like, they've really made the environment interactable, not like a few objects there.
Yeah, and that was something that they did in Half-Life 2 as well, is that they do these things without tutorials. Like, it's just like, work with the environment and solve a problem the way you want to. Like, in Half-Life 2, the very first thing you do is one of the Combine like throws like a can of soda like on the ground. And he's like, tells you to pick it up. And there's no instructions how to pick it up. You have like the gravity gun, or like you don't have the gravity gun, but it's just like use E or something to pick it up.
This is the one time I've played Half-Life. I got to that port in Half-Life 2.
That's one of those like little details that carries over with Half-Life, because they do that all the time. They like, oh, here's this room, solve this puzzle. All the puzzles, no instructions. It's like, here's the puzzle, just solve it. And they're all like, connect the dots or make sure everything
there's
connects.
Like one puzzle where you have to do like a math equation basically, right? Because I've seen like people drawing on that whiteboard or the glass.
Yeah, no, you don't have to do that. That was just like,
that's just someone
it was
else.
just like, oh, you could just use the marker. Like, no, you don't have to do any of that.
Gotcha.
Stuff.
Because I was like, that'd be so cool if it was a puzzle and like you're doing like an equation on the board and it's like,
that'd be awesome.
Cool. That'd be really cool.
But it's more like connect the dots, connect the lines, or like trace a certain way. Pretty rudimentary, but like examples of like you can make like a pretty good puzzle in VR with 3D space.
That's awesome.
So that was like my major thing I liked. And then the gunplay is bang on. So
I've heard it's really good. Yeah.
And
I
wish there's more weapons though.
Worth to note, you weren't playing on the Index, the Valve Index.
No,
you were
I was playing on the $200 Windows Mixed Reality HP headset that they have. It sucks still, but it worked. So that's what was great. It was definitely the best game I played a game with that headset on.
Right.
All the other games, I can't even play Beat Saber. Like, I don't know, like our friend says you can't, because you can't put your arms to your sides because it loses tracking. That's how
crazy
dumb it is. So.
I think I'm gonna buy Beat Saber this week. I really want something to just play on VR. So, well, I'm glad that Half-Life Alyx obviously it sounds like it stuck the landing, and it sounds like Valve undersold what it was.
Yeah, they definitely did. It was like, hey, it's coming out.
New expectations, which is cool.
VR Half-Life,
Yeah,
but no, it's amazing.
Portal in VR. I'm just praying for it.
It vomit-inducing experience. It's just.
I'm ready.
I can't even puke. Like climbing a ladder is like the most I can do in Half-Life.
All right, now for the news, James. All right, I want to. There was a surprise Nintendo Direct Mini, which was still like 30 minutes long, so it really wasn't that mini. On Wednesday, I want to believe, last Wednesday. So I just wanted to go through with you the quick announcements that Nintendo Switch had.
There were a lot.
Yeah. So Nintendo Direct Mini, March 26th. This is kind of like taken from IGN by Adam Bankers to kind of put all the information consolidated into one like paragraph, basically. So Nintendo announced the next fighter in Super Smash Bros. Kinda. I'll be paraphrasing. They announced in a very odd way that it will be a character from ARMS, the Nintendo Switch fighting game that came out at launch. They did not say what character it will be, and they showed like 12 characters and like, it's going to be someone from ARMS. We'll keep you posted. And I guess the character comes out in June. It was very odd the way they announced it. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition will be released for Nintendo Switch on May 29th, 2020. The original was released in 2019 on the Wii U and on the Wii in Japan in 2010. So it's a remake of the first Xenoblade. People love that.
Yeah.
My favorite announcement, second favorite announcement, 2K has announced that the BioShock Collection, Borderlands Legendary Collection, and XCOM 2 Collection are all headed to Nintendo Switch on May 29th, 2020. That's very awesome. Cool. I love to play BioShock anywhere, anytime. And looks like they look pretty good. They ran pretty well, so that's exciting. We'll see how they actually do. A new trailer was released for the Bravely Default 2 alongside the announcement that the game's demo is available now. Bravely Default 2 was announced at the Game Awards 2019 and is set to be released this year. It's worth noting that Bravely Default 2 is the third Bravely Default game.
I love that you always, that's like your known fact that you keep saying.
I have to, because it's so weird. It's so weird to call that game the second one when they made a second one not called 2. It's like a Kingdom Hearts naming thing. It's so bizarre. Yes. Nintendo released a few more details on the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass, which will add the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra to the latest Pokemon game in 2020. The Isle of Armor will be released this June, and Nintendo revealed that trainers will be fighting/training in a dojo where players will earn the legendary Pokemon Cubfu. Weird.
Cub? Ooh.
They aren't even trying to name these things anymore.
Nope.
Between April 1st and April 12th, Animal Crossing New Horizons residents will be able to participate in Bunny Day in honor of Easter to find eggs hidden by a bunny visitor zipper and craft exclusive items with them.
This was always the greatest thing of Animal Crossing, when random people, like a special day, someone would come visit your town. That was the greatest thing.
And in New Horizons, because it's all linked to the Nintendo Cloud, you can't time travel to a holiday and get the stuff. So you can't time travel to Easter and get the Easter event, because it's all to like the basically Nintendo calendar.
But you could with your local.
You can still save scum and kind of advance days, but when people show up are tied to Nintendo itself on like their servers.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I know that's a big thing where people would like travel to Christmas all the time and get all this like Christmas stuff and sell it. They do not allow that. And they announced that there will be an Earth Day event as well. I love Animal Crossing. Then this is my favorite announcement, because god damn it, things are weird in video games right now. It's just like we need some announcements because we got no games this year. Let's go to the oldest Star Wars games we know and just pull them back. And I love it. I'm actually going to buy this. 2003's Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy is now available for Nintendo Switch. What?
I saw it. It looks
old. It's a terrible game that I played so much as a kid. You make your own Jedi.
Fun. Yeah.
It's great. And then this is the really great announcement. 1999's Star Wars Episode 1 Racer is headed to Nintendo Switch this year. I just got chills. Yes. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game.
What a just not great game, but great game. Burnout Paradise Remastered will be arriving on Nintendo Switch in 2020. Thought that was really cool. And then Catherine Full Body will be arriving on Nintendo Switch July 7th, 2020, which is...
That's a good puzzle game.
Yeah, and I've never played it. I've heard only good things. I think Nintendo Switch is the perfect place to play it on. So nothing really to talk about, just weird kind of announcements. Obviously, we don't know any other Nintendo games that are coming out this year.
Wow.
Animal Crossing was the last date we had from Nintendo for any game on the Switch until this Direct.
Good or bad?
I think it's right in the middle. I think that we're getting Breath of the Wild 2 this year. Hopefully, with coronavirus, it might be pushed. But I think they're planning on getting that game out with consoles, and they're waiting to E3 to basically like surprise drop that's coming.
Wait until what?
Like the E3 press conference. They don't have E3, but they're still going to do their conference. You know what I'm talking about.
E3, what is that? Yeah.
That was only like 2.5 weeks ago, by the way, when that was canceled. That's how long this whole time has been. Okay.
I swear, like, it's been a month.
I know, right? It feels like it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. So now these are the news stories that we actually have some opinions on. I think this is amazing, and I'm curious what you think about this next story. Epic launches publishing label with Remedy, Playdead, and Gen Design on board by Matthew Handeron at gamesindustry.biz. So Epic Games has launched a new platform publishing label with Remedy Entertainment, Playdead, and Gen Design as its partners. Epic Games Publishing aims to tip the balance for publisher relationship in favor of developers, offering terms that it believes will be more attractive than its rivals. This includes full creative ownership, with developers keeping 100% of the IP rights and total creative control. It will offer as much as 100% of the development costs, including employee salaries, and it will split 50-50 profits once its costs are recouped, which is an interesting thing.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that.
We'll talk about that. That's the one like kind of little, small print note, right?
Yeah, I gotta.
But it's interesting. We're building the publishing model we always wanted for ourselves when we worked with other publishers, said Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney in a statement. The first three of its partners to sign with the Epic Games publishing label are The Last Guardian Studio Gen Design, Inside developer Playdead, and Remedy Entertainment, who obviously made Control, Alan Wake, and Max Payne. So, everything sounds really good on the paper. It's exciting. I know everyone kind of gets mad at Epic Games because they did the Epic Store and split the PC store, and everybody got all mad.
Grr.
Oh my god, I gotta hit another button on my PC. What am I gonna do? They don't have a shopping cart. Fucking Jesus Christ, get over it. But I think this is really good news, despite there's that one line, right? That they're willing to they're gonna front the cost for everything.
This is the opposite of what they currently do. Because what they currently do is they pay you after. They're like, hey, we'll pay you however much money to put your game on our store only for like either a set amount of time or just permanently. And then so the company has to upfront the cost for their game, and then they recoup the cost at the end. This is them giving the money up first, and then once the game's released, then they're going to take your money.
Which I think is kind of good and bad, right? Like basically saying, obviously we know Remedy, who made Control, which was our second game of the year, right? Number 2 last year for both of us, which is a fabulous game. It did not sell that well.
No, that's what I was like wondering. What's the stipulations? Is like if you don't sell well, you owe us all this money, or is what is the?
But I think with this,
catch?
they're saying, oh, the catch is that they are going to make their money back no matter what. Like
what if they never do? Like what if the game just flops so bad? Like you get Anthem basically, and you're so screwed.
That is an interesting thing. But I think with
how are they gonna? They maybe they'll like pick and choose the games that they're gonna like fund, which makes sense. Like
that's what I think they're doing.
Yeah, that's like a Sony play kind of there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the two of the 3 development studios just came off like incredible games, right? You've got
but you can make a bad game with a good studio. We've seen that.
We've seen that before, right? But the fact that there's total development control on not the publisher, but on the development side, and IP rights.
Yeah, so it's
really
like
cool.
they're just getting the money as like you do your thing. You have full control of your IP, which that's great.
It's awesome.
No, that's how it should be.
Yeah,
it's just the money. That's all I want to figure out. Like they're gonna get their money, but what's it gonna be? Like your game flops, do they sue you, or like it's not gonna make the money?
Yeah. Well, we've seen like with Insomniac and Sunset Overdrive, where like that game launched on Microsoft, was published by Microsoft and funded, but then like it gets murky on who owns Sunset Overdrive. So like they're unsure really if they can make another one, and like we're all unsure if like we can get a Sunset Overdrive too. So
no, it's always the thing. The studio should own their game, which is what I hate. Like that's not a thing. But
it's like Bungie and Halo,
that's a good,
right?
Yeah. So when Epic came to like something that we wished was a thing, like that makes sense. But that being said, like they're still trying to get the money. They're not going to just give you free money to make a game.
Of course
so.
not.
But that's why it's like I want to figure out.
I think it's cool too that for me, I think this is exciting news because I think Epic has kind of shown that they do a lot of things right. I know they have butchered the store a little bit and everybody's still mad about it, but like with Fortnite, they've really shown like we get what we're doing. We want this game to be as many people's hands. Like it's user friendly to the most regards. And I think this shows with publishing now. They're like, hey, we've got this fucking Fortnite money that we just bathe in. We sit in the dollar bills in our studio.
Well, now, at least they're doing something with the money, which is what they should be doing.
And I think that's cool. And they're taking risks on bigger studios that aren't owned, that are independent, and make these critically acclaimed games or The Last Guardian.
Yeah. They're trying to compete. They're trying to you're seeing an emerging company that's like a small game studio, like that was just doing their own thing. That's going to probably expand into something bigger, like a Microsoft or Sony type publisher, which is going to be pretty big if it's successful.
They're kind of,
because then companies are just going to go to Epic. They're going to be like, oh wait, we're getting a better deal. We're getting the money up front, which all the other ones do. Sony and Microsoft, they get the money up front to make their game. So it's but they're not. They're probably not getting full IP control. So
Sony?
No, all the game companies.
Oh right, yeah, no, Sony owns all like
because they're owned by the So it's like if you wanted to be independent yet get the money, this is your
chance.
So I'm curious to see what the like smaller like indie companies are thinking about this.
I'm curious to see what Playdead does with it because I think that's a big test, right? Like Inside is phenomenal. If you haven't played Inside, play it. It's incredible. Have you played it?
I have played Inside. Inside's great. Got
a crazy ass ending. But I think like just showing that they have that, and then Remedy, who's like becoming this AAA studio that won some Game of the Years last year, and
I would like another Max Payne if they could get somebody to do a huge Max Payne.
Is Max Payne owned by them though? I think it might be owned by Rockstar, right? Because they developed the third one.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you remember that Mark Wahlberg was in a Max Payne movie? Never forget.
Yes. There was a Max Payne.
Never forget, guys. Mila Kunis too. Weird movie. All right. Next story. HP is building a next-gen VR headset with Valve and Microsoft by Matt Purslow at IGN. PC manufacturer HP has announced that it is working on a next-gen VR headset in collaboration with Valve and Microsoft. The HP VR headset, the Rebird G2, is described as the new standard in VR by HP, and it offers a more immersive, comfortable, and compatible experience than previous generations. That's all the details that the website and newly listed Steam store page reveals. What we do know is that the follow-up to the Rebird, HP's expensive VR headset designed for Windows mixed reality lineup, that the headset is best known for its very high definition display, which measures 2160 by 2160 per eye. That's significantly ahead of the Valve Index, which has a resolution of 1440 by 1600 per eye. Geez, sorry, that's a lot of numbers. Quite what Microsoft and Valve's contribution. Quite what? What does that mean, James? What is he trying to say here?
Quite what there, yeah. Right? Oh, cheerio.
That's what it sounds like. Quite what Microsoft and Valve's contribution to the project has not yet been made clear. But based on the original Reverb, it may be that Windows Mixed Reality is a core design principle of the G2. Steam VR is a given. It's on the Steam store. And after all, but there's no indication yet as to the Index Knuckles controllers will be compatible with the G2. I think that's for sure, obviously, what they're doing. VR has had a surge in its interest over the last few months in anticipation of Half-Life Alyx, Valve's first feature-length VR game, and the first return to the Half-Life universe in over a decade. IGN gave it a 10 out of 10 in their review, calling it a masterpiece. That surge in interest has sold out VR headsets, a situation further worsened by the impact of coronavirus. That was a lot of words, James. What is your take on the Reverb 2?
Expensive.
Yes.
So they keep doing this thing where like just keep making it better and better, but it's still expensive, and it's a dilemma. It's like back in the old days when you had like the 3DO or these weird consoles that were like $1,000,
right?
And they were better than like this Nintendo and all that because they had better graphics or something, but no one bought them because there's basically like nothing for it. Which I still feel like VR has no games for it. Half-Life Alyx, you could say debatable. Once you beat it, that's kind of it.
Right.
Like they didn't really like build any like sandbox model with it. You can like a Dreams VR, that'd be amazing. But
they're working on it.
Yeah.
Dreams VR is legitimately being worked on by Media Molecule.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Dreams is good.
Yeah,
I'm kind of interested. Obviously it sounds like it's going to be expensive as hell. But they do talk about it being like a more comfortable, and is that just for like how it fits in your head, or are they talking about like comfortable and like an ease of setup, or what are they trying to like?
So yeah, there's been like there's three main things that they target. It's the weight of the headset on your, so they're trying to reduce like the weight, the feel, so like how it like attaches to your head and how you can adjust the eyes, because you can space out the lenses a little bit.
Okay.
So it's not like you're just looking at a circle the whole time, because it's literally like a circle and then
right
black
on your eyes.
So there's improvements there. And then also the last thing is like motion sickness. So they've been really addressing like how do you move in VR, and the Index I heard addresses that really well.
Okay.
But it's interesting to see a partnership between like a big, we're probably never going to see one with Oculus, like they're just doing their own thing. But you've had HTC with Valve, you have now Microsoft with Valve and HP and all that. So you're going to probably see some big pushes. And Windows Mixed Reality, that encompasses Lenovo, Samsung, all these other companies. And if Windows Mixed Reality goes with Steam and incorporates there, then you could have a unified VR for PC, which is pretty great.
That's what this is my big question for you, I guess, right? We talked last week or maybe 2 weeks ago about PSVR and Xbox's competition with PSVR. And Xbox has very publicly been like, we're not going to make our own VR headset. Could this headset be built for the Xbox Series X?
I'm going to say yes.
That's what I think too.
Because they have a high power processing machine that's coming out that could easily handle VR. And they're probably just going to be like, oh yeah, by the way, the Windows Mixed Reality headsets that we have released, they all work with your Xbox.
So just hear me out. Here's another theory. You know me, I love my theories, right?
Yeah, spit it out.
Spit it out. Here it comes. We all think that PSVR is getting Half-Life Alyx eventually. Because obviously there's a ton of units, right?
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. What if at Microsoft's not E3 press conference, but their like big reveal for the Xbox Series X, they talk about, hey, your Valve Index will work on this. Your this will work on this. The next Reverb headset will work on the Xbox Series X, and Xbox is the exclusive console place to play Half-Life Alyx and all future Valve VR games or whatever.
I don't think Valve would ever enter a partnership like that because they're actually anti-exclusives. So that's why it's like I feel they wouldn't do something like that because they're gonna go to both consoles. That's how they work.
Gotcha.
Like sadly that's how they work. But
I'm just thinking because if they're in partnership,
they're anti-exclusive, which is why they hate Epic. But it's fine.
Hey, competition is good for the market. Steam obviously needs to improve
exclusive
on stuff.
sometimes like it's just like because if it eventually comes out like on another sometimes double dipping's okay, which I feel like is fine, but when you see like Rockstar do it like 3 times, it's like what the hell, you're 360 X and then
you know that GTA 5 is coming out again on Series X and PS5.
What's the other thing that like where if you buy was it PS4 that did it or Xbox where like it's Xbox that you buy your games now and then you'll get the the new Xbox version.
Well, and
free.
PS5 has said that some selection of the top 100 games will be.
Because I'm guessing some game companies are like, wait a second, we don't
Yeah.
want that. What the hell? We want our money.
Yeah. Speaking of, sorry, just really quick side news story a little bit. CD Projekt Red, did you see that they donated over $1 million worth to Polish COVID?
Yes, I saw.
And they didn't publicly announce it at all. They just did it, and someone like discovered it. Thought that was really cool.
Another great company that's doing good work for gaming, and even though some people are like, the work is a little like iffy there, but that's how all game companies are. Like, you crunch. That's
kind of
the name of the business.
Yep. Okay, next news story, because I thought this was interesting, and I won't read the whole thing, but we'll read part of it. Bungie says Google Stadia is an amazing solution for play testing during lockdown. We've obviously talked a lot of crap on Google Stadia.
Yeah.
And I wanted to give them a little props. I wanted to give...
You're gonna give them props when it's so biased because they have Destiny on Google Stadia. It's not like, oh, you know what? We just found that Google Stadia was pretty good. You know?
No, obviously they're helping out, but we gotta give them props.
They're trying to make money because they have their game on Google Stadia.
All right. This is also from Matt Handerin at gamesindustry.biz. Bungie believes Google Stadia is the best solution for testing games while staff are working remotely. A vital aspect of staying productive during the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking to IGN, Bungie COO Patrick O'Kelly discussed the Seattle-based company's response to the outbreak of COVID-19. Obviously, Washington's like where everything went bad quick here. So, Bungie was located in Washington State. Bungie was prepared for short periods of remote work during an earthquake zone, and after climate where heavy snow could make it travel difficult. However, the potentially long period of remote work required during the pandemic means that every aspect of the game development must be replicated. We've set up these beefy laptops, we call them developer-grade laptops, for people to work from home, so they've been working really, really hard to get those set up so that everyone can basically have full-on workstation capabilities from home, O'Kelly said. So that's been one of the hardest things, literally just getting a couple hundred of these machines set up for people to take home. For playtesting, a crucial part of our operation of a live service game like Destiny 2, Bungie landed on an unexpected solution. Another thing I'll throw out is Google Stadia. It looks like that's going to be our test solution, O'Kelly said. Getting playtests at scale is a hard thing to do. A lot of bandwidth involved. So they've been collaborating with us to set that up. And that looks like it's going to be a really amazing solution for us. It's not something we necessarily thought about initially, but looks like it's going to be a great way for us to keep getting our regular playtests and doing it pretty easily. While many small studios operated with dispersed teams already, the COVID-19 pandemic has forced larger companies to find ways to emulate developers like Moon Studios, which created Ori, Will, and the Wisps with a team of 80 people, all of them working remotely, which we talked about last week, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Sorry, I lost my spot. The impact of COVID-19 on game production is still unclear. Speaking to the gamesindustry.biz recently, the CEO of co-development specialist the Streamline Game Group, Alexander Fernandez, predicted a rash of delays in the coming months. Those working in developments are really seeing or feeling it, he said. I believe it will take a quarter or two for the extent to become glaringly obvious through the missed dates or development delays. I think we're going to really start to feeling this in Q2, Q3. Bungie's O'Kelly said that the company is now focused on meeting the production goals for 2020. However, he admitted that there are some part of development that cannot be replicated in remote work. We're going to have to take it a day at a time. And I'm sure there are certain things where, if we stay locked down like this for months and months, there are obviously certain types of things that you can't do, like motion capture shoot, he said. We can't have people come in and do motion capture, so that will limit some things we can do. But we have the agility, and our focus is on making sure we keep delivering absolutely. So, that was a lot.
I have one comment.
One comment.
You said before you started reading that you wouldn't read the whole thing.
And I read the whole thing. I know, I realized. I was like, this is a good article.
We expect an apology now.
Hey, you didn't apologize for the Half-Life 3 thing. I'm not apologizing for this.
I was right, though.
So
you were right, too.
Yeah, I was right, too. I just think it's kind of a cool thing to see that Google Stadia is obviously working with its partner, Bungie, but to help them mediate kind of the difficulties of development while, working from home. So,
but that's what are they doing? Because I'm gonna guess how it works is a little different on Stadia versus how it works on Steam versus how it works on all their other. So it seems like this is just attacking Stadia, because that means that they're whatever updates they do to Stadia is going to update everything else, or is it just one central server? How does this work?
My guess is that they are using, from what I'm reading about this, right? They have their own internal Destiny server where they do playtesting at Bungie HQ or whatever, right? My guess is that Google Stadia is providing this server for them to access remotely through Google Stadia.
That makes sense.
So like they are giving Bungie their own server to be like, playtest this, and like your whole company can log on to this with Stadia. That's what I think it is. And then obviously that's where they playtest, and then they can patch it in everywhere else.
So then if that's how that works, that's what they should be selling to other companies.
Yes.
Like, hey, we will provide the servers for you to playtest remotely, and then in exchange, release your game on Stadia. That's how they're gonna bridge the market if they're gonna get more than 15 games on there.
You mean you don't want to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider from 2012 or whatever?
No, I don't.
Come on, I really man.
Don't.
It's a great game.
Destiny 2 is great. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
But,
I just thought it was a cool story. I thought it was an interesting question, but also like kind of talking about the upcoming delays. I'm sure we're here to see.
We're gonna see a lot. I think people were like, "Oh, things are gonna still come out." Like I'm expecting even the consoles to get delayed because.
So both Sony and Microsoft have said they will not be delayed. Well, I think there's gonna be a lot of shortages. We're not gonna have a lot of them out in the wild.
That we were talking about this, like people are just gonna get their money and then buy a console.
Yeah, right.
From the government.
The thing I'm kind of interested in is, will The Last of Us 2 be delayed because it's hitting a little too close to home?
No way.
You don't think so?
Like. Because they're going to do what FF7 was doing. It's like, hey, your physical copy is going to be delayed, but the digital should come out right on time.
Right, but this is a game about a virus that wipes out a lot of humanity.
It's the perfect time to release it. That's what Half-Life Alyx is. Like, you literally like walk around in the quarantine zone. Okay. Like, it's literally...
That's fair. Yeah, I'm just interested. So funny. I'm curious what delays of games we'll see, and like, I know that 343 has talked about that, like, it's been hard to develop for Halo right now. So it's like, does Halo get delayed? And then that's like the Series X Big's launch game that's like won't be there. And
Blue Studios is like, it's like business as usual.
Right, yeah.
We work remotely.
We work remotely, so we're fine.
And then game companies are going to be like, shit, we could actually probably work remotely except for motion capture. Like they said, like you can't do motion capture.
And obviously playtesting is a little difficult and stuff like that. So I'm curious how game development's going to change a little bit and what delays we'll see. But something that didn't get delayed, James. Well, actually, it did originally, but then not this year.
It did get delayed. Everything got delayed.
Is Doom Eternal. Yeah. And this is our main topic. This is our review of Doom Eternal. James, I want you to start. What did you think of Doom Eternal?
It's a easy, not a 10 out of 10, but it's like a 9.5 out of 10. I'd say it took Doom and elevated it to the next level.
Yep.
And made it what it should be. Just a really fast-paced arena type, battling like hordes of enemies and feeling good about like the way you're playing each enemy and interacting with the environment and managing your ammo. And the big thing is, though, I feel like the atmosphere just like got to a way better than the first two.
Yes.
Like I don't know why, it just first one was just like, okay, yeah, here's a bunch of bodies, here's like sand, here's platforms you could jump on, and it was good. And this one just like took it to the next level, which is great. And then also one thing I want to point out is the HDR settings are the best out of any game I've ever seen. So much detail you can refine to get your colors all right, and it looked impeccable. So I was really happy about that. It just blew my mind. And then how smooth it ran. Yeah. Just refined to the max. Like when I looked at this, I was like, man, this is Bethesda what it should be.
So I had one crash, and I realized it was because it was downloading the like 15 gigabyte Call of Duty update while I was playing, and like just I think too much was happening on my console, and I was like, kill it. There's too many enemies, and it just I was like, oh no.
But it still ran great.
Yeah,
the whole time.
I think Doom Eternal is phenomenal. Definitely, it will be a Game of the Year contender. It will win Game of the Year at certain outlets.
Yeah.
I think it is one of the best shooters I've ever played. Just like how it controls.
Yes.
I think it is ridiculously over the top in its story and everything. And it's one of those things that reminds me a little bit of Fast and Furious, where it knows how stupid and over the top it is, and it leans into it so hard. And that's like my favorite thing when stuff does that. And like, we know what we are, and that's what we're going to be. Like,
it's like Duke Nukem.
Yes. It's like Duke Nukem, but not offensive towards women. No. Yeah. I think Doom Eternal is phenomenal. I was talking a lot. I think you and I were talking about it a little bit, but it reminds me a lot of a fighting game almost, where like how I play fighting games, I guess, especially Smash Bros, where it's like reactive, where while you're in the map, you are trying to react to everything that's happening to you. But you also need to be strategizing on what you're doing next because you need health and ammo and armor and everything you get in a different way by killing someone. So I guess that's like the big crux, right? Is chainsawing an enemy gives you ammo.
And then which enemy too? You can't be like a high level enemy. Yeah.
Glory kills, which when you damage someone, they start glowing and you jump on them and you like do like a finishing move. That gives you health. And then if you catch an enemy on fire and kill them, that gives you armor, or shoot them, that gives you armor. Yep. So you're constantly trying to balance what you need and how you want to kill somebody, but also you don't have that much time to plan because it is just hectic as hell every time you fight. And it's awesome.
And the music is awesome.
So
you just
great.
have hardcore gent playing that's just it's just amazing.
And
then also like one thing you did mention, which I think was great, is like great and bad for one enemy. But great,
yeah, we'll get to our complaints in a minute.
There's certain weaknesses for the enemies that I think work perfectly. Like some are susceptible to like grenades, or some you have to like break their shield and then you can kill them, and they're like they're weak against energy. And then some, like we're talking about the smaller enemies, they're easily chainsawable.
Yep.
That makes chainsawable.
Chainsawable, that's a word.
Chainsawable. Yeah, that's the word. So you can get your ammo back and then you can keep fighting.
Yeah, and I think on that point, the way that each enemy is weak to something, or how you use like your weapons. Obviously, I think you have like a total of 8 weapons that you can use. 8, yeah, that sounds right. And they each have 2 different weapon attachments that you can put on them in mod to make them do different things. The heavy machine gun becomes a sniper rifle, or it becomes a missile launcher.
That was a thing from the first game too, I believe. That you can do sniping.
Yes. Yeah. But for me, like I started that game and I was like, I'm gonna put the missile launcher on here because obviously I want to launch a bunch of missiles, and which was great. But then I realized, oh no, the sniper is way more critical to what I need to do to hit weak points. So it's like, but then at the end of the game, when it was like everything was getting really hectic, I was like, well, I need this missile launcher back on. Like I just need to pound these guys with missiles. So I think it's the way that you can change up your arsenal is really cool. And also just the weapon wheel, that you can customize what slots the weapons go in the weapon wheel.
I like that.
Awesome. Just a little quality of life. So what was your favorite weapon? Just kind of out of curiosity.
It's the double barrel shotgun, because
the super shotgun.
The super shotgun, because you can get the flaming hook, which is the best sort of upgrade. I don't know if that's the best. I didn't get every single other one, but the flaming hook is amazing because it sets them on fire, and then when you shoot them, you get armor as well as like any health. So that's
yes, you grapple to an enemy with this hook and it catches them on fire. It's awesome. My favorite weapon still, I think, was the first shotgun you get, upgraded with the grenade launcher.
That one's good,
because I just would pound people with grenades, and like the big eye guys, I think they're
yes.
What are they called?
You basically one shot them.
Yeah, you shoot
floating
them,
eyes.
They eat the grenade and then you punch them in the eye. The glory kills in this game are awesome. Really well.
Like there's so much attention to detail to the fighting aspect and the story and the environment. But
which I want to get
just
to.
What I liked is like they targeted the weaknesses of the enemies, and then how you approach each enemy. You'll see the enemy and it's like you instinctively, because like, okay, I'm gonna like chainsaw this guy. It's like, oh, I'm gonna use my shotgun, and you can switch on the fly. You can set your 2 weapons that you can like automatically switch how you want it. So sometimes I would do the super shotgun with the crossbow type gun. So you just like you can do a combo there to really take down like the big like tank dudes that are like take a little bit more health, but that it was still great. And then also one thing we didn't mention, this isn't like your typical shooter. If you hunker down and try and like shoot from a distance and just stay still, you'll die. You literally, it's a momentum based game. You have to keep moving or you will die. You have to move around, collect armor, collect health, or you die. Well, and there's one thing that's anti that. We gotta talk about it right now.
Let's get there in a second, because I want to talk about that. What you were just saying. This game is at its best when, like we were talking about, when you're seeing the Matrix, right? Yes. Like when you are seeing the lines of code basically in your brain, and you are like, you are hitting, you punch a guy, you jump to this, and then like in your brain you're like, how did I even do that? That's incredible. And then the minute you start to think about it, you're like, no, go back to where I was just in the groove. It's all about finding like your rhythm. And that's where I'm talking about that fighting game mechanic of like the encounters are so rhythmic.
Instinct. It's a fighting game instinct of how you're gonna like approach each enemy and So but one enemy.
And I think that's a thing we should talk about. Obviously, the game is such built on momentum and fluidity and bouncing back and forth. They have an enemy called the Marauder, which starts off as a boss battle, and he is an enemy that has a big shield. He's got an axe and
a shotgun.
and a shotgun and a dog. And
a dog, yeah.
Okay? He's got tons of shit. I hate him so much, James. I hate him. And basically the thing about this enemy, which is special about him in this game, is that you can only hit him from medium range. And it literally tells you to use the super shotgun because you have to use the super shotgun to fight him. You don't really get a choice. You can damage him, but it's annoying with other stuff. He will, at medium range, his eyes will glow green. He will swing his axe at you, and you have to shoot him when he swings his axe at you.
You basically parry him. That's like how you fight him.
It's the only way to fight him. If you shoot him at long range, he blocks everything with your shield. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Literally everything. The super weapons, the big fucking gun, which is what the BFG is called.
Yeah, the sword.
The sword that's supposed to insta-kill enemies.
Yeah.
Everything. And then, of course, if you get too close to him, or if he just manages to get too close to you, he shoots you with the shotgun.
Yeah.
Then if that didn't make it worse, then he just launches this like demon flaming dog at you.
Yeah, so you try and run away and get space, and you're going to get chased down by this dog.
Yeah. And then I noticed the big things with these encounters. Obviously, the game is telling you have to fight him our way, which is complete opposite of what the game is.
It should be, yeah.
Like the game is like, do it your way, figure out your rhythm. This is like, you got to stick to our rhythm. Thankfully, he's not involved in many group fights. It's usually one-on-one encounters mainly. Yeah. There's like 2, I think, where he's in a group.
But the first fight is the worst because the whole point of these like Doom and the fights is the stage. Like how you're fighting on the stage. You can like be mobile. You are fighting in a room, one story, and just 2 pillars.
Yeah.
You're like literally fighting like a WoW fight here. Like you just circle the pillars and try and dodge them and just parry the whole time. Which that's I feel like is anti-Doom. Like
right. I agree. And I thought that was bad, but I thought that was like, okay, this is a boss battle. This is the boss battle for this level. Fine. It's horrible. Boss battles usually aren't fun. Okay. Yeah. But then he starts appearing and like there's like 1 to 2 of them in almost every level after that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, this is just another enemy thing that I got to do a lot. And it's really not fun.
I think it's more manageable because you have the platforms and you can move around. You can avoid him easily. In that room, it's just 2 pillars and you have to fight him. Yeah. Luckily, you're just fighting him. But in the other ones, like I'll just like, I'm just going to clear out all the other enemies and then kill this dude.
Well, and the thing I found with these fights too, because usually it'll be like in a big room encounter, you'll kill everybody and then he'll come. Yeah. But there's no way to get
my last enemy.
There's no way to get ammo. There's like one like walking around little I forget what they call them, like grunts or whatever they're called.
Yeah, the grunts do keep spawning, like 1 or 2.
But it's not a lot, so it's like hard to find them.
Yeah. You have to like run around and find them. But
it's very frustrating, and it really for me it like took away from what this game was. It was like
at the very end, because at the beginning it's like, oh, this is great. If this enemy didn't exist in the game and they just had higher health, like higher damage, that'd be fine. Which they did. You do that, but they get 1 shot like they're supposed to.
Yeah, like
this guy you cannot use a sword, you cannot use a BFG because his eyes have to glow fucking green. It
really frustrated me that he was invulnerable to all of the super weapons, to like literally everything. They are just like, no, you can't. You have to do it our way, which is like, why
your
would
game
they do
plan
that?
changes and it doesn't change good, like in a good way.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's really the antithesis of what the game was for X amount of time. Which I thought was a very interesting development choice by Bethesda. I thought that was very odd.
I don't know why they did it.
I don't know. Like, why would someone think that was a good idea?
It's like they put a Dark Souls boss in Doom. Like, it's just weird.
It was really weird. But positives. I want to talk to you about kind of the story and the environments. So, what was your kind of take on the story and the different levels? Because there's like, I want to say 12 levels. Does that sound right? 10, 12 levels? What did you think of them?
Story. This is like the first Doom game with like a definitive story.
Yes.
Like typically you don't have a story in Doom. Even the first one didn't really have a story. And then this one, it was clear what the mission was.
James, the scientists, where you find scientist recordings, they call him either the Doom Slayer or the Doom Guy. That is literally now his name.
I love it. It's Slayer, Doom Slayer.
Yeah, it's like, awesome.
And then when you approach scientists too, like when you're on the Mars, base, and they're like, everyone's like afraid of you, even though they respect you. They're like, oh, it's you.
Well, I love there's like 2 soldiers talking. They're like, if this guy thinks he can walk right past me, like he's gonna have some problems. And then you like shut through the door and you walk right past me. He goes, oh man, it's good to see you, man. It's like,
you're like the Witcher. You're just like a badass, and everyone's afraid of you, and you're just doing your thing.
But it's
pretty apparent that like you're doing your own thing.
The writing is so like, we know how ridiculous this character is. We know how ridiculous it all is. Now we're gonna like make the world also know that, and it's really fun. Like it's really fun to see. And the lore they're kind of building with who this guy is interesting.
They have a really interesting lore, and it's almost like, so he did his own thing, and he kind of like just said F you to both the demon, the hell, and I guess heaven, which we're calling the world of makers.
Yeah.
How are they gonna make another game? Because he basically just like said, "Fuck you" to all of them. Is there gonna be like a new enemy? Is there gonna be?
Sounds like there's another higher power, right? Like that is talking to him at the end, and that there's an enemy he's pissed off. So I'm curious, kind of where they go from here. But I think
because he basically pissed off everyone because he killed he's like, I'm just gonna save the humans and kill everyone else.
When he killed I mean, obviously, it's not a really big spoiler, but he does kill the bad guy at the end, right?
Yeah, when he kills the bad guy.
But when he kills the bad guy, there's another big, larger voice talking, and like that's when Samuel Hayden, who's the voice of Optimus Prime, which throws me off all the time. Yeah, Autobots roll out. But when he's like basically tells you, he's like, we gotta go because like something's happening here. It's like, okay, there's another force at play in this.
Yeah.
Also, weird things. The main bad woman, the main maker, she's the voice of Asajj Ventress in the Clone Wars, and that's all I could hear when I heard her. Like, she does not change her voice at all. That is just Asajj Ventress.
The Con Maker is good. Also, there's backstory in the game, like backstory from the original Doom.
Yep.
Basically, like what happened with the original Doom
and why you kind of ended up on the table.
Yeah. Which is,
I thought removing the pistol was a fantastic thing.
Did you see the pistol? Like, it actually work?
No, can you get a pistol?
Yeah, someone actually was able to like mine it out of the game because they kept it in, even though they removed it.
Okay.
It was such a great. That was the best decision they ever made, removing that pistol.
Yeah.
Because it literally was pointless.
Right.
It had like a submachine gun type aspect to it, and then a regular. It would have sucked. But they were going to do it just by the way. But it would have been awful. Like you'd never used it basically.
Right.
Because all the other guns are better. You'd use like a heavy machine gun or a shotgun.
Yeah, I think every weapon is very good in this game and serves a purpose. And I never found a weapon where I was like, I'm never gonna use this. Like I was like, oh shit, I need to use the rocket launcher now. Like I need to use this
every
plasma
single
rifle.
weapon.
Me too.
You have to because you run out of ammo sometimes.
Yeah. You do. I saw someone's complaint. He's like, I don't know what it is about this game, but I'm always running out of ammo. And then someone's just like, chainsaw people. Like they're telling you how to get ammo. Yeah. Like you always able to get. But
sometimes you just like. You're at the very edge and you're like trying to find someone to chainsaw, or sometimes you're at low of fuel on the chainsaw. Which
did you switch back and forth between grenades?
No, I saw someone do that. And I didn't realize you can do that till the very end.
I found that out the last level.
Use both grenades. Yeah, I thought you could only use one at a time.
You use the ice grenade.
Yeah, ice grenade's great.
Ice grenade's awesome. Yeah. I want to talk about I think besides the combat, my favorite part of this game is like almost like we said, the video gamey nature of what this game is, and it knows it's a video game, which I think is really cool. It's not trying to be this immersive experience where you're not playing a video game, which I think is awesome. But I love the use of secrets, extra lives. Like this game is very much like, hey, we know we're a video game. You can find extra lives in this, like Mario. You can, which I assume is probably a reference to past Doom games. There was extra lives. Yeah,
there was extra lives in past.
That's what I assume. Because there wasn't in Doom 2016 did not have that.
You're right, actually.
And so the extra life, you just, when you die, boot back up into the encounter you were just in. But I also love the use of like secrets and the mini map of finding. I was really into trying to 100% every level that I was in. Like I would go back and find everything, go to the Slayer gates.
I love the Slayer gates are one of the best things. Let's talk about the Slayer gates.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different secrets you can find in each level. There's like little toys that you can pick up, and they are toy versions of all the different enemies, which I think is really fun. There's like codex entry notes that you can find. And then you can find records, like, to put on a vinyl player. And the record is all the music from past Doom, Quake, and other like big Bethesda id shooters, which is really cool. And I would constantly go, they'd be put into your fortress that you start every level kind of, or your hub.
Fortress of Doom.
Fortress of God. It's
great,
so great.
Great name. Fortress of Doom.
They never really explained like how he got that, right? He just has it.
No, but they said it was like it was a maker stronghold.
Yeah, and then he like took it or something. I love that. I thought that was so funny. But everything goes into your Fortress of Doom, and you can play the records while you're walking around, which I thought was really fun. Unlock different costumes in there. Get armor tokens, weapon mods, weapon points to add stuff. But then there are these Slayer gates, which I think are awesome. And the Slayer gates, there's 6 of them throughout the game. I actually did go back and get the last key as well. And
awesome. Did you try the gun?
Yeah.
That you get?
Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second.
How is it?
It's good. It uses the BFG ammo.
Oh.
And so it's like a big machine gun. It actually is really helpful against the last boss. But so the Slayer gates, you find them in every level. You need to find a key to open the gate. And then you do like a special combat challenge. You're transported to like a different level. And the levels are like super intense, combat heavy, with enemies that like you've never seen before, and they don't tell you how to beat them. I was getting some of the maker enemies that are in like the second to last level, the one where you have to headshot.
You got them it's like the first or second.
Yeah,
Slayer
it's
gate,
like the
right?
second gate, and I was like, "What are these guys?" And like I hit one in the head, and I was like, "That guy dropped a lot of ammo." So then it was really strange. Like 10 levels later, they're like, "Hey, shoot these guys in the head for ammo," and I was like, "Yeah, I learned that in this game."
I know that. Yeah, it's like because I did the Slayer game.
I almost was like, "Are they kind of randomly putting in enemies?" It was interesting to figure out.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, but each gate you beat them, and then you get like a key afterwards. Make sure you walk over the key because it doesn't automatically go to you. Apparently,
that happened to me.
Me too. And I had to go back and beat another level for the key, which is really dumb. But then you unlock like this super powered weapon. I just thought the Slayer gates were fun challenges. They were super intense. They were my favorite part of fighting.
You also don't waste any of your ammo going into it. Like it's like contained in the Slayer gate. You go in and then everything replenishes when you leave.
Only if you beat it.
Sense. You're right, but
if you don't beat it, you don't get it.
If you don't beat it, like
I know
it's pretty easy to beat it.
I would say
it's
that.
not too hard.
I would say on average I'd probably lose 1 life in a gate. But what difficulty did you play it on? Hurt Me Plenty?
Not the whatever is like
normal,
the medium. I guess.
That's what I played it on
normal,
too.
Yeah. I'm not trying to like do the best. I saw someone playing last night who was playing Once You Die You're Done, like the hardcore, and he got to the very last boss and died.
No way.
And that was heart wrenching. But watching him play, it was like another level. Like it was like another level that you could play Doom at. Just so intense, and people love that thrill because it's like, people like challenges.
Yeah, I'm actually excited.
So I can't wait for the speed run of this game.
Me too.
Like I want to see the potential because they literally laid it out. It's like, here's how you can play the game, except for that one boss, except for the Marauder, which they're probably gonna hate.
Have you seen? There's a guy. Kotaku posted a video of someone beating a Marauder in like 6 seconds.
Ow.
The minute the Marauder spawns,
juggle?
he just flips between like the Arbalest crossbow and back to the super shotgun, and he just shoots him. It's like crazy insane.
Yeah, I know I've done like a 3 cycle, like
Yeah.
you do like 1, 2, 3, like but I didn't know you could do like a bunch.
Yeah, it's
maybe
awesome.
you can, but
That's
why that combo is so great.
One of the challenges, like the combat challenges, is fighting a Marauder in like 20 seconds. It took like 6 of my extra lives, and I never beat him. And I had to walk away from it. It's the only one I didn't finish. Yeah,
it's one of those things where it's just like, it's not worth it.
Are you gonna go back and play some more Eternal?
I've been going back and just
nice. You're trying to 100% it?
They have I've sometimes I've been going back and trying to like 100% some of the stuff, but I want to do the master levels, which are pretty.
They're adding more.
They're gonna be they're gonna be releasing more. Also, one thing we did talk about with the secrets, how you reach the secrets. This game is like platforming to the max.
Yes, there's a lot of platforming.
You have a dash, you have a double jump, a double dash, I guess.
Yeah.
And you were just flying around the map creatively, basically, like getting on platforms, hanging on walls. There's a really good like wall hanging, and it's weird because it's like it's 3D, but sometimes it reminds me of like a 2D platformer. Like,
did you have any issues with the platforming at all?
No, but sometimes it would like auto hit the wall, and sometimes it wouldn't, and that's like
if you dash into the wall, if you dash into it, you connect. If you don't dash, you have to like press a button, which I didn't like. It was like just auto connect.
And then sometimes like you thought you had a dash and you didn't for some reason, and it was just little weird things there. But luckily it's such a minor thing for that game.
Yeah.
Like you were just using it to get the fights basically.
And what I like too is that you could always get to a secret.
Yes.
You were never like having to
You're
come
not
back
unapproachable. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I really appreciated about this game. It's like, oh, I can find everything now, and I started unlocking with my suit token this like ability to see all where the secrets are, like right when I spawn in, because I wanted to like find everything. And it was like that was really fun to see everything and get the
map
records
is great because you can see where you're gonna be. Like, oh, here's the Slayer gate. I'm gonna go over there. Oh my god!
Compared to Jedi Fallen Order's map last year, that's very similar, like holographic thing. This is amazing.
Yeah, it is perfect.
Yeah,
like, you can see where you're heading and secrets are.
So James, do you recommend people play Doom Eternal?
If you like gore and violence and a fun shooter, this is that game.
Yeah, I think if you like a good first-person shooter, this is the game for you. Hands
Definitively
down.
One of the best.
I'm very excited to see where this ends up in our Game of the Year rankings. I'm sure it'll both be pretty high.
Well, I feel like if they keep releasing more stuff for it, like these master levels or different modes, like I'm just going to keep coming back to it.
Oh, yeah. It's only competition right now is this little Animal Crossing and this guy, Tom Nook, that I owe a lot of money to.
From looking at the numbers, it lost heavily. Oh, yeah. But,
did you see Animal Crossing New Horizons was Japan's best-selling Switch game in the first weekend?
I just want to see the numbers. I want to see the global numbers because we know the UK numbers because they released early, but we don't know the US. We don't know.
There's all but 2 people on my friends list on Switch are playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah. It's that good.
Hey, if anybody has like apples or pears or anything on their island, let me know because I need some of those for my island in Animal Crossing New Horizons. Thank you. So James, our last bit of the show, I know this is one of our longer shows, is our top 20 games of all time. I'm going to go through what we have so far. So far, we have Super Mario World, Minecraft, The Last of Us, Doom 1993, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Halo 2, Halo 1, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, BioShock, Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Mass Effect 2. James, what is your pick this week?
You know, by the end of this list, it's going to be pick 14, right? Yeah, we're at 13. Yeah. So pick 14 for me. I want to have at least one 2020 game, which I'm going to assume we are going to have one on this list.
Okay.
So that's 6 months, sadly, from this.
Yeah.
So, but in 6 months, we need to have like.
So we might have to do it like a revision.
Ooh, but my pick is not a 2020 game.
Yep.
It's for the last 3 picks. They've been all 2s. I'm bumping it up to a 3.
Whoa.
We're going Witcher 3.
I knew it was coming.
Finally, wow. It's coming.
It's coming. It's here.
And honestly, I'm gonna make a little addendum here. It's Witcher 3 plus DLC.
Right.
Because the DLC is, I feel like, with the game. Because the first DLC is my favorite, Heart of Stone, is definitively the greatest DLC of all time. Even though people say Blood and Wine's good, Blood and Wine's just pretty, and it does go with the story. But Heart of Stone directly like references something you did in the actual game at the very beginning, and it's so incredible how it ties it in and makes a new story with it. Such a great thing. I'll do a little brief thing. What happens? Basically, you know it because you play a little bit of Witcher 3.
Yeah.
The beginning, when you go to that first hut and you like learn, like the one where like they basically kick you out, like they're like, oh, Witcher's here. They like try to fight you. There's a guy there that you meet, and he's like, he sits you down. He's like, hey, how's it going? I forgot his name. Barnabas, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. But basically you find out he's like a devil, and you meet him again in Heart of Stone in DLC, and he's like, hey, we meet again, Witcher. It's like, I have a proposition for you. Or I think he had a favor that he needs from you.
Okay.
And then he has something that he'll give you in return. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he basically needs to collect on a deal he made with someone. And this guy basically made a deal with him for power and wealth and all this stuff. And he's like, oh, I'm coming to collect his soul, but I can't get to him. He's so powerful. So he hires you to go get to him, and you learn about this guy's story, like why he asked for all his power, and it's amazing. Like this guy's story, like what he did, you go through his whole backstory, like his life and like why he has his power, and it's some of the best fights in the whole game.
Very cool.
Some of the best story, and it's my favorite DLC because it's like just full encompasses, and it's a better story than the actual game.
That's awesome.
So that's one thing. When I tell people like, oh, what DLC should I play? Blood and Wine. I've heard so much about it. Blood and Wine's like a little like fairy tale type DLC that you go and visit a fairy tale world, and then you end up owning a manor because you like a winery basically because you like did all this favors. Heart of Stone is like more gut wrenching and like this is this guy's story. It's sad, but this is what.
So pitch Witcher 3, the game itself.
The main game.
Yeah. Why is that deserved to be on this list? I agree with you, but I want to hear.
The Witcher 1 and Witcher 2 suck in comparison to The Witcher 3 because the story is good, but the combat has always been the worst part about the Witcher series, which is why I never played it. And then you go into Witcher 3, and it has a definitively different combat than most games. You have like a fast strike sword. You have a sword for killing like certain like demon, like or like I guess creatures.
Yeah, monsters. Yeah.
You have a silver sword basically and then you have like your normal sword for humans because you attack humans. So you can switch between them, and you have like a fast strike, and you get abilities. So you have Witcher senses. It makes sense. You have like a shield. You have fire. You have like you can lay down traps. So it's magic with sword fighting, but also the environment. It looks great. It's like you take Skyrim and you make it all flat. That's Witcher. So it's a flat Skyrim.
Yeah, it's flat Skyrim, but it's a great RPG too.
Yeah, and the story and the characters, it all comes together. Like your whole point of the game is you're trying to find Ciri, which if you watch the Witcher series on Netflix, this will add so much to that story. like how important Ciri is to Geralt, the Witcher main character, and what the whole point of the game is to try and like find her, and then rescue her from the Wild Hunt, or like protect her from the Wild Hunt. And you have this like last stand at Kaer Morhen, like you're basically your home base for the Witchers.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And then it continues on. Like even after that, like you basically like kind of like Ciri fakes her own death at the very end of the game. Spoiler.
Wow, I haven't even got there, James. It's only been 6 years. You didn't give me enough time.
I swear. It's honestly like almost like it's like a cop-out ending. That's why I don't feel like it's like the best part of the whole Witcher game, which is the DLC has a better story.
Well, I think like the side stories in The Witcher 3 are way more interesting, I think, than the main campaign, in my opinion. Like,
I thought that with a lot of people, but I actually like some of the main campaign stories. The side stories are like okay because most of them are like fetch quests, but some of them are like, hey, I saw you here, like we work together, come over and help me fight and defend Kaer Morhen.
Which I like that, but I like I enjoyed the Baron's story with like his child that was like a demon, and
that was a great story. Like, that's the best story of the whole campaign.
That like was where my head goes with The Witcher, and I think that's so cool, and like this like struggle that this Baron deals with.
That's like the Heart of Stone DLC. Mm-hmm. That is that kind of story. Like it's a really sad kind of story, but it's a little bit elevated.
Yeah, and I think the world of The Witcher is very unique. I think obviously we're inundated now with like open world third person games, but that was like still kind of when they were adding new ideas, and the use of the question marks to know where something interesting was.
I love the Witcher senses for tracking like enemies or where you need to go, and the sound, the environment, the wind, the way everything, like, it just, I go into that game and the music is amazing.
It's a great game. I mean, definitely deserves to be on our list.
A great CD Projekt Red gaming, and let's hope we'll put another one on here.
I know you think it's Cyberpunk. We'll see. We'll see.
They make good games. That's all I'll say.
I'm praying Breath of the Wild 2, baby. Let's add that one. Yeah.
And potentially more Witcher games in the future.
They've said, the next game is going to be a Witcher game. So
love it.
Love it.
Yep. So Witcher 3 on the list.
Witcher 3 has been added.
Plus DLC. Add a plus DLC.
Plus DLC. Plus Heart of Stone. Thank you so much, James, for joining me on the 17th episode of the Side Escape Gaming Podcast. We go live every Monday. Please like, subscribe, all of that jazz on YouTube, and check out our SoundCloud when you're on the go in your car while driving. Pull up your phone while you're driving on the freeway and type it in. Spotify.
Quick, easy Spotify search.
Yeah, we're just Side Escape. We're still competing with jiu-jitsu tutorial videos on YouTube, but
but they aren't on Spotify, so
they're
we
not
win
on
there.
Spotify, so we've won Spotify. Thank you so much, James. I'll see you next Monday.